Hola amigos, ¿qué tal? Stuart here from Spain Speaks with an update video. Have a bit of a chat about what's happened in Spain over the last week or so while I go for a walk here in this neighborhood, which is not mine, but it's a new neighborhood, so we'll check it out. Now I'm coming to you today from Madrid. Stayed at the mother-in-law's place last night, went to a wedding, so I'm a bit dusty today, I'll be honest. And as I said, stayed at her place last night because she lives in Madrid. The wedding was in Madrid. Didn't want to go to our home because it's a bit far away, a bit more expensive when it comes to taxi fares. And it was a big wedding, and I'll tell you about that in just a moment. Now, I'll get the weather out of the way. I'll point the camera up so you can get a look at the sky. Blue skies today, top of around 30 degrees Celsius, so can't complain. But as you can see, still a bit of water around from the very heavy rains that we had at the beginning of the week, and I'll talk about that in a moment too. Now, before I begin, a shout out to the people of Morocco who might be doing it tough given the magnitude of the earthquake that hit earlier today. Woke up this morning, opened the newspapers online, and bang, was hit with the story of that Moroccan earthquake. Some 630 people unfortunately losing their lives, many more injured. So let's hope that the death toll does not continue to rise. But as I said, parts of Morocco doing it tough today. And funnily enough, I was reading in the newspaper yesterday, a British newspaper said that the Canary Islands in the last few hours has also had lots of tremors due to earthquakes, and a big one hitting Morocco. And as we know, the Canary Islands located off the coast of Africa, off the coast of Morocco, if I'm not mistaken. So you never know when one of these disasters is going to hit, unfortunately. So what has been happening in Spain over the last week or so? Well, it's all about weather phenomenons, or at least at the beginning of the week, Sunday, Monday, I think it was, we had one of these phenomenons called a Dana, D-A-N-A. Unfortunately, 5 or 6 people lost their lives. Other people injured, of course, in this Dana. Rivers broke their banks because the serious downpour in a very short period of time, not sure on the exact amount, but we're talking hundreds of litres of water falling in a very short period and wreaking havoc in some parts of the country, especially here in the Madrid community and also in Toledo, bordering provinces, of course, Madrid and Toledo, and as I said, around 5 people losing their lives. 3 people lost their lives almost immediately when this downpour hit earlier in the week, as I mentioned a minute ago, and another 2 bodies were found yesterday, I believe, as a result of this serious downpour. I think what happened is that people were traveling in their cars. Obviously, the rain started to fall. The car got swept away into a river, and unfortunately, as I said, people losing their lives. Now, as usual, after speaking about this weather phenomenon earlier in the week, the skeptics started to appear in the comment section, people saying that the weather forecasters are scaremongers, don't worry about it. Somebody even said that you just have to stick your head out the window to see what the weather forecast is. Don't worry about this because it's all scaremongering. But tell that to the people that unfortunately lost their lives. You have to take these weather events seriously. There are more weather events like this nowadays in Spain. Somebody also said that, it's only the gota fria that always happens in Spain. Perhaps that is true. Gota fria is not a new phenomenon, but the rains that have fallen recently, very, very heavy, and in all of the time that I've been living here, I can't remember weather phenomenons like the ones that we've had over the last 5 or 6 years with these danas and snowstorms and all of these things, but hey, I don't want to trigger the climate skeptics. Now, the other big news story that has been dominating the press in Spain over the last week or so are the negotiations that have been taking place between the caretaker government, Pedro Sanchez and company, and the Catalonian fugitive Carles Puigdemont, who the other day put his demands on the table. He wants an amnesty and also talking about another referendum in Catalonia. And let's just say that lots of people in the centre of Spain are not happy about that. Now, if you're not familiar with Spain's #1 fugitive, Carles Puigdemont, he resides in Belgium because, as I said, he's a fugitive from Spanish justice. Well, anyway, he holds the key to the next government in Spain. Now, I know what you are probably thinking. How is it possible that a fugitive from the Spanish justice system holds the key to the next government here in Spain? Well, it's difficult to explain, but Mr. Puigdemont still has a political party which he is leader of. Some people still consider him to be the president of Catalonia, even though officially he doesn't hold that title. And in the last elections, his party got 5 or 6 seats. And as I said, they hold the key because Mr. Sanchez needs those 5 or 6 seats in order to get the majority to govern the country for the next 4 years. And the negotiations are going on behind the scenes. People are meeting with Mr. Puigdemont, and basically he is dictating terms. And as I mentioned a minute ago, one of the key demands that Puigdemont has put down on the table is an amnesty for that referendum back in 2017. Basically, he wants everybody who was involved in that referendum to be pardoned, all of the jail sentences quashed, and also what that means, if they get the amnesty, is that Mr. Puigdemont will be able to come back to Spain and live life again here peacefully without the risk of going to prison. Now, as I said, people are not happy about this. Certain members of the Spanish population are not happy about this because it's anti-constitutional and it will require constitutional change. And it's something that is difficult to do in Spain also. And what this also means, I imagine, is that the Catalonian independence movement will continue to grow and grow and grow if Mr. Puigdemont gets his way. So basically that's where we're at currently in Spain politically. At least lots of negotiations going on behind the scenes. The PSOE negotiating with Mr. Puigdemont, the PP party also trying to negotiate, and if the two candidates, Mr. Feijóo and Mr. Sanchez, can't get the support they need, we'll be heading to fresh elections come January, I believe. Now, another story that is still dominating the press here in Spain, unfortunately, is the Luis Rubiales case. Mr. Rubiales, the former chief of the Football Federation here in Spain. Well, I think he still holds the position, but he is suspended. There's somebody in a caretaker position at the moment. And as we know, Mr. Rubiales planted a kiss on one of the players' lips, and it didn't go down too well. And unfortunately, it has taken the spotlight away from that women's team victory. As I said, unfortunately. Well, the latest is that the coach of that team, Jorge Vilda, has been sacked. He was sacked the other day by the caretaker boss of the Football Federation, but he says that he's not going to leave. He thinks that he's going to be in the position for another 4 or 5 years. That's what he was promised by Mr. Rubiales, and he also wants a huge payout in the millions of euros. So another twist to the story, and a story that unfortunately doesn't want to go away. So we'll see how this one ends up. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I went to a wedding yesterday, or a wedding celebration. A couple of friends of mine decided to get married. They have been together for over 25 years, but all of a sudden they said, we're getting married, and yesterday was the celebration in the center of Madrid, bang smack on the Gran Via, which is the main artery of the city of Madrid, in one of these flash hotels. I think it was a Hyatt hotel, and we went to the rooftop and we had fantastic views of the city of Madrid, and especially a bird's eye view of the Gran Via. And I'll show you some of the images from that rooftop now. But anyway, what I want to speak about is just how busy the city of Madrid was last night. Absolutely packed. Thousands and thousands of people walking up and down the Gran Via, shopping, going to bars, restaurants, a lot of activity. And I was speaking to a couple of Madrid locals at the wedding, and they also couldn't believe how busy the Gran Via was. And they were complaining a little bit that the Gran Via doesn't have its traditional feel. Everything is very touristy, if that makes sense. All of the businesses are catered to tourists, and one person said that he felt out of place in Madrid, the city that he has lived in all of his life. The center of the city is not the same as it used to be. So that is one thing that is changing here in Spain. A lot of the cities, especially the big cities, are losing their authenticity, or at least that's what some of the locals are saying. But as we know, Spain is a tourist country. A lot of time and effort has gone into making Spain what it is today. Tourism a big part of the GDP, and cities like Madrid and Barcelona have jumped on the tourism bandwagon over the last few decades, and now thousands, if not millions of people visit the big cities here in Spain, changing the character, unfortunately for the locals, of these cities. But anyway, what can we do? And as a friend of mine always says, it is what it is. Now I'm going to wrap the video up here. Questions and comments, please leave them in the section below. Debate the video out as you normally do. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it, thumbs down if you didn't. Hasta luego from Madrid.